Welcome back to Leeds Lately. Before we get into today's video, if you could just hit that button down below. We're trying to get to 10k before the start of the season. We're only around 500 subs away now, so every little subscription helps. Also, before we get into this one, the new Leeds United away kit is out and it is a thing of beauty. If you want to get yours, use my link in the cards up there. I always go wrong direction. Or in the link in the description down below. I will get a small kickback at no extra cost to you, and it will just be a way of supporting the channel with something you were probably going to do anyway, because let's face it, it's a very, very nice kit, and I thought I had to go ahead and get one. So today's video, we're going to be talking about Rodrigo Muniz. Now, of course, there's been news around in the last 24 hours or so that potentially Marseille might not be able to fund the deal for Igor Paixão from Feyenoord, which would open the door for Leeds bringing in the Brazilian winger. So if you want to know more about Igor Paixão, I did a video at the weekend about that, so go and check that one out. That'll help you get more of a knowledge of why Igor Paixão is so high up on a lot of clubs' lists of players that they want to sign. But another Brazilian that Leeds have been interested in for quite some time now is Rodrigo Muniz from Fulham, somebody who has a market value according to Transfermarkt of 20 million euros, but according to Fulham, they are wanting at least 30 million pounds for him because that's what they value him. His contract expires June 30th, 2026, so his value is kind of protected on that front. He's got a year left on his deal, so there's potential for a little bit of wiggle room. But Rodrigo Muniz is somebody who comes in and really, really helps and improves Leeds United. So as we do in a lot of these videos, we've built a bit of a kind of trading card for Rodrigo Muniz, in which we've ranked his value, how well he fits the system, and the potential that he has to be a really, really good Leeds United player. So the 24-year-old sits at 6'1" and of course is a striker that we definitely need to have a look at this season. The strapline that I've given him, which we'll obviously get forward into a lot more detail in this video, is that he's physical, well-rounded, and he's a number 9 with great hold-up play and finishing. In terms of the star rating system, I've done this as a 5-star rating system here. So for his value, I've actually given him 3-star. Now, that might seem like it's not a fantastic deal then, but I think it's because there's a little bit of this kind of, he's a little bit unproven. He's never actually really been the first choice for Fulham. Somebody who is kind of been waiting in the wings behind Mitrovic when they were back in the Championship, behind Rodrigo Jimenez in the past, Raúl Jimenez in the past, and somebody who, when he went out on loan to Middlesbrough, didn't really do very well, had a lot of injuries, but last season he kind of really showed the quality that was the reason that Fulham bought him in originally. Fulham actually bought him for 8 million, and so because of he hasn't proven himself massively, the value, I think, is they are blowing it a little bit out of proportion, basically to say we don't want to sell him, but if we are going to have to sell him, you're going to have to pay for him and you're going to have to pay up. So I think given the fact that we're talking about his value here, 30 million, basically 30 to 40 million is a lot for Rodrigo Muniz, but value for money wise, if you're looking compared to other players, it's not a great deal in terms of that. But when you look at the system and the potential, sometimes you are just going to have to pay the money. So with the system, I've gone for 5-star, which we will get into a lot more. But like I said before, great hold-up play, bringing in players around him, making runs on the blind side of defenders to try and open up spaces, and his ability to pass the ball and create chances for his teammates as well is excellent. His potential, obviously, he's 24, so he's not that old, and he's not that young either. He's kind of in that spot where he's just before his prime, so I think his potential is through the roof, really. I've given him 5-star for that because I really do believe he's one of those players who could really, really do well, and I think he's kind of perfect for Leeds. So now that we've had a little look at that, let's have a little look into his statistics before we talk about the eye test and a little bit of tactics board stuff as well. So First of all, let's look at the cold hard facts. Last season, he played 31 games. He scored 8 goals and got 1 assist. Now, in that time, obviously, not all of those were starts. He must have come off the bench for a fair few of those games as well, because, like I said, he was never the first team choice. So don't read too much into that goal scoring record. But 9 goal contributions in 30 games is obviously a goal contribution every 3 games. In a Premier League, it's a good return, but I think being the main man and starting for Leeds United, I think we would see that would be a lot more than that. Also supplemented by the likes of Joel Peru and Mecha as well, who we've signed, which we've seen in pre-season friendly highlights. They're very capable of scoring goals. So, yeah, when we actually look at how many 90 minutes he's played, when you look at his non-penalty goals, 0.75 per 90. So essentially, he's scoring 3/4 of a goal every game, which, yeah, it's a weird kind of thing to say. But basically, when we're looking at his how prolific he is, he's in the 95th percentile for that. So the top 5% of strikers in men's top 5 leagues in Europe. So, i.e., per amount of minutes he's playing, his goal scoring record is actually really good, which is why I said about the fact that he has spent a lot of time on the bench for some of these games as well. He takes a lot of shots, 3.64 shots per 90, putting him again in the top 10% for that. Progressive passes, 2.52 per 90, puts him in the 82nd percentile. So, yeah, he's somebody who's going to drop in, which we'll go over in the tactics board. He's going to drop in, he's going to get the ball, and he's going to play the ball down the wings and try and get his teammates into good positions. As well, his defensive capabilities in terms of whether Farke wants him to press or whether Farke wants to come back on corners and things like that. His tackles, interceptions, blocks, and clearances are all above the 78th percentile, with most of them being the 90th percentile. One I do want to pick out is his aerials one. 6.26 aerials 1 per 90 puts him in the 98th percentile, so the top 2% of strikers in Europe's top 5 leagues in terms of winning aerial balls, whether that be shooting from crosses into the box, corners, anything like that, or whether that be actually defending corners and things and winning hold-up play. So, again, really, really good to have for him. When you look at the similar players to Rodrigo Muniz, people who he's compared to, you're looking at people like Alexander Sørloth, you're looking at Raúl Jiménez, you're looking at Erling Haaland, he's been compared to in terms of his actual statistics. So those are some really, really good signs from him. When we talk about the eye test, he's a very strong physical player, and he's also got the ability to run at people, to carry the ball with him, and he's got a good passing range as well. Somebody who is a very, very well-rounded striker, which is why I think he would really, really suit Leeds. He's not the quickest player in the world, but he's certainly not slow. He's got that ability to sprint into the final third. He makes very, very good runs. He's clever with his movement. He's not had that kind of run at first team football at Fulham that maybe we would have liked to see him before signing him. But if Leeds do sign him, I do think that he could be someone who would be absolutely unreal for us. I think the only reason we're holding off is just to kind of see, can we get all our other positions done, and how much money does that leave us with towards the end of the window, plus whether Fulham have got in their striker targets as well. So when we actually have a little look then at the tactics board, one of the most important reasons why someone like Rodrigo Muniz fits what Leeds United are trying to do is his hold-up play. Now, a lot of the time you would see somebody like Joel Peru come into areas like this, pick up the ball and try and play it around the corner out wide. But I do think that when we're playing a little bit deeper, somebody like Rodrigo Muniz, when we are trying to get out of our own half essentially, and we are trying to kind of make those runs, getting the ball into somebody like Stack, who's obviously now signed as well, who can maybe find a pass into Rodrigo Muniz. When he is being crowded by these players, he has the ability to A, hold them off, and B, actually have a look up and play some really good long balls into the channels, which he doesn't just sit there after he's done it as well. He will then make that run back into the box and try to get on the end of things. And especially, like I say, with his aerials, with winning headers and stuff, he's really, really great at doing that. But his strength in holding off the ball is one of the things that allows players to get in and around him and allows this kind of creativity that we need. Now, I talked about the other week the fact that we had Stack and Tanaka, or Stack and Longstaff, whoever being in that midfield, and that they would sit a little bit deeper, and that they wouldn't be particularly the type of players to get forward that much and be creative. So we're going to need creativity from the attacking line, whether that be from the number 10 or the wingers. If we can get Igor Paixão, that would be amazing. But somebody like Rodrigo Muniz, with his hold-up play, allows you to kind of leave these players back a little bit and be more defensive to try and survive in the Premier League, essentially. But it allows you to play the ball into somebody who you can trust to win the ball in the air and play the ball forward as well. He's really good with his back to goal as well. When you give him the ball on the edge of the box, he can get players in around him. He's got that strength and ability to do so. He's got the ability also to beat a man. We've seen multiple times in the Premier League last season, even going past Van Dijk, flicking the ball over his head and getting in behind. And a variety of finishes as well, I must say. Some power finishes, chip shots that go over the goalkeeper. He's got that in his locker to have a very varied skill set in terms of his finishing ability. He's somebody who really, really excels with his back to goal, but also the kind of runs that he makes. Now, when we talk about Norwich of old under Daniel Farke, one of the things that Daniel Farke liked a lot about Teemu Pukki was his kind of running into the blind spot of the defender. And what I mean by that is, let's say that the number 10 had the ball here. Let's say it was Buendia or Cantwell. What would happen is that Pukki would basically make a run into this space here, which would kind of drag this defender, opening up space for the opposition wing, for the opposite winger to run into the gap created by that space. We didn't have that so much with somebody like Joel Peru. Joel Peru was very much a kind of float around the edge of the box, try and open up the space for his teammates, and then eventually, when the ball did come in the box, he's a bit of a poacher, Joel Peru, and he'd finish things off. But Rodrigo Muniz is the kind of player who it offers you similar things to Teemu Pukki in that sense of being able to open up the play. His intelligent movement, being able to make curving runs into the box, having defenders only see him at the last second and open up space for his teammates, is one of the things that kind of sets him apart as a really excellent striker and somebody who would massively, massively improve Leeds United's front line. And I do think it's important to say as well, I do think that Joel Peru is really good. I think that Mecha has the potential to do really well for us as well. So if we were to sign Rodrigo Muniz and we had those as our 3 attacking options, it's very, very strong, especially for a newly promoted side. Pair that with Sean Longstaff, Anton Stack, Tanaka, all these players coming in and the ones that exist already within the squad. If we can get Igor Paixão and Rodrigo Muniz, then we are very, very close to a properly strong Premier League team to stay up with. After that, of course, we need a goalkeeper. So there will be more transfers. So there will be more videos. So make sure you stay subbed to the channel. Hit that like button if you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching Leeds lately, and I'll see you in the next one.